हेलो एवरीवन, वेरी गुड इवनिंग। आई होप यू आर डूइंग गुड। टुडे हम डिस्कस करेंगे 2021 में जो आपका कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पूछा गया था। हमारी सेकंड लास्ट वीडियो है। नेक्स्ट वीडियो हम 2022 का देखेंगे। वो जो दिस एप्लीकेशन ने जो आपके आंसर की बनाई उसी के हिसाब से देखेंगे। अभी तक क्या था, जो आपकी यूपीएससी की ऑफिशियल आंसर की थी वो इन लोगों ने डाल रखी थी, बट 2022 का आपको पता है अभी तक रिजल्ट नहीं आया है, सो इस हिसाब से बट 80 to 90% ठीक ही होता है। 10% का वेरिएशन आएगा। डिस्कस यहाँ तक हमने देख लिया 277 तक। नेक्स्ट पैसेज, विद रेस्पेक्ट टू व्हाट कॉल्ड आर डिनोमिनेशन ऑफ रिलीजन। ठीक है, इफ एवरीवन इज लेफ्ट टू बी ए जज ऑफ हिज ओन रिलीजन, अगर खुद आप जज बनते हो, देयर इज नो सच थिंग्स एज रिलीजन दैट इज रॉन्ग, कोई गलत है। बट इफ दे आर टू बी ए जज ऑफ ईच अदर्स रिलीजन, उनको कुछ भी सही नहीं लगता एक दूसरे में, देयरफॉर ऑल द वर्ल्ड इज राइट और ऑल द वर्ल्ड इज रॉन्ग। सारा किसका मैटर है? मैटर ऑफ रिलीजन। इसके ऊपर है, ऑन द वर्ल्ड इज रॉन्ग इन द मैटर ऑफ रिलीजन के मामले में। मोस्ट लॉजिकल assumptions कौन सी बनाई जा सकती है? नो मैन कैन बिलीव विदाउट adhering टू सम रिलीजियन डिनोमिनेशन। ठीक है, इट इज ड्यूटी ऑफ एवरीवन प्रोपगेट वंस रिलीजियन डिनोमिनेशन। यस, ड्यूटी तो है, बट सारी स्टेटमेंट आप पढ़ लो। बट रिलीजियन डिनोमिनेशन टेंड टू इग्नोर द यूनिटी ऑफ मैन। यस, men do not understand their own religion denomination. यस, वो दूसरों को क्या कर रहा है? मतलब दूसरे को गलत बताता है हमेशा, खुद को नहीं। तो समझ नहीं रहा, डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड देयर ओन रिलीजन डिनोमिनेशन। Next, it is certain that sedition, war and contempt or breach of the laws are not so much to be imputed the weakness of the subjects as bad state of dominion. For men are not born fit for citizenship, but must be made so. Beside man's natural passion, everywhere the same. And if the wickedness more prevail and more offense are committed in one commonwealth than in another, it is certain that former has neither and enough pursued the end of unity, nor framed it laws insufficient for sound. For thought that therefore it has failed in making quite good its right as a commonwealth. ये बना सकता हूँ commonwealth इसमें। तो most logical कौन सी? Sedition, war and breach of laws are inevitable in every dominion है। It is not the people but the sovereign who is responsible है इन सभी problems के लिए। That domination is best which pursue the aim of unity, and law has to be good for citizen. It is impossible for the man to establish a good dominion. तो क्या है? Impossible है। तो एक्सट्रीम स्टेटमेंट को आप काट सकते हो, एंड आपको एम होना चाहिए यूनिटी, गुड फॉर सिटीजन। तो आपकी बिल्कुल सिंपल सी स्टेटमेंट है, बाकी मत सोर। नेक्स्ट, इनइक्वालिटी वॉलेट करती है बेसिक डेमोक्रेटिक नॉर्म्स। इक्वल स्टैंडिंग ऑफ द सिटीजन, इक्वालिटी एक रिलेशन है दैट ऑब्टेन्स बिटवीन द पर्सन इन रेस्पेक्ट ऑफ सम फंडामेंटल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के बीच में, दैट दे आर शेयर इन कॉमन। इक्वालिटी इज मोरल स्पीकिंग डिफॉल्ट प्रिंसिपल, therefore person should not be discriminate नहीं करना चाहिए, such as race, caste, gender, इन सब पे क्लास हो। these feature of human condition are morally irrelevant हैं। the idea that one should treat person with respect not only because some of these person possess some special feature or talent, example skilled cricketer, gifted musician, literary giants, but because person are human being and is by now part of common sense morality. So कौन सी assumption बनाई जा सकती है? Equality एक prerequisite है for people to participate in the multiple transaction of society from a position of confidence. Occurrence of inequality determine the survival of democracy. Yes, we can say ज्यादा equality हुई तो democracy हम कैसे बोल सकते हैं? ज्यादा inequality हुई तो टू को हम सही मान सकते हैं, पर यहाँ पे टू नहीं है। Let's see एक बार इसको देखते हैं। Equal standing of all citizens is an idea है that cannot be equally actually be realized. डेमोक्रेसी में ऐसा नहीं है, cannot be actually realized. Let us see. Right of equality should be incorporated into us value day-to-day political vocabulary. One को हम मान सकते हैं, and also answer is A. Occurrence of inequality detrimental है, prerequisite basically. Next is aristocratic government ruins itself by limiting too narrowly the circle within which power is confined. Oligarchic government ruins itself by incoherence scrambles for immediate wealth. But even democracy ruins itself by excess of democracy. Democracy खुद को वो करे. It is basic principle. Its basic principle क्या है? It's the equal right of all to hold office and determine public employee. This is at the first glance delightful arrangement. It becomes disastrous because the people are not properly equipped by education to select a best ruler and by just questions. The people have no understanding and only repeat what their ruler are released. They're pleased to tell such a democracy is tyranny or autocracy. ये पहले एक्टों में कहा था सारा का सारा. बेस्ट क्रक्स कौन सा है? तो ह्यूमन सोसाइटी एक्सपेरिमेंट विद डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. Any form of government tend to deteriorate by excess of its basic principle. कैसा हो सकता है? Education of all citizens ensure a perfect, functional and sustainable democracy. Education सब बोलेंगे तो having government is necessary evil because tyranny is inherent in any form of government. So any form of government tend to deteriorate by excess. ज़्यादा basic principle लेके आया तो it's saying because option A through the indicated in the passage not most or opinion option B is correct because two forms of government oligarchy and democracy have been discussed and it mentions how they can turn into tyrannies due to their excess power. Next passage. India faces a challenging immediate future in energy and climate policy making को लेके. The problems are multiple: sprouting fossil fuels, production capabilities, limited access to electricity, modern cooking fuel for the poorest, rising fuel imports in an unstable global energy context, continued electricity pricing and governance challenge leading to costly deficit surplus supply and not least growing environmental contestation around land, water and air. But all is not bleak. Growing energy efficiency programs, integrated urbanization and transport policy discussion, inroads to enhancing energy access and security, and a bold renewable energy initiative, even if it not fully conceptualized, survive, suggest the promise of transformation. So which one of the following statement best reflect करी है critical message को? India's energy decision making process is ever more complex and interconnected है. India's energy and climate policy are heavily tuned to sustainable development goals, not compatible with the broader social economic. India's energy decision making is straightforward, supply oriented, and ignore the demand side. India's decision making is ever more complex and pricing, governance, challenge, cost deficit, surplus supply. So option A. Next, there are reports that some of the antibiotics sold in market fed to poultry and other livestock 45 growth promoter है. Overusing these substances can create superbugs, pathogens जो कि resistance हो सकती है multiple drugs के लिए. Could be passed among humans में भी आ सकती है. Mindful of that, some farming companies have stopped using the drugs make chickens gain weight faster. Since Denmark banned the antibiotics growth promoter को 1990 में, major pork exporter says it is producing more pigs that the animal get fewer disease. Reflect the critical message. People should avoid consuming the product of animal farming. Food of animal origin should be replaced. कैसे इसकी बात नहीं कर रखी. Using antibiotic animals should be banned. Ban कैसे करें? Antibiotics should be only used to cure disease के लिए use कर सकते हैं. So 23 का. Next, policy maker and media have placed the blame for skyrocketing food prices on variety of factors, including high fuels prices, weather in the key food producing countries, diversion of land to non-food production, increased emphasis, however, has been placed on a surge in demand for food from the most populous emerging economies. It seems highly probable that mass consumption in these countries would be poised to create a food crisis. So the following assumption कौन सी बन सकती है? Oil production countries are one of the reason है for high food prices. if there is a food crisis in the world in near future, it will be in the emerging economies. हमने बात की थी पॉलिसी मेकर इंडिया producing countries. It seems to be highly probable that mass consumption in these countries create a food crisis आ सकता है. Okay. यहाँ पे both are incorrect because talk about high fuel prices leading to fuel price and यहाँ पे हमने बोल दिया कि नेक्स्ट सेंट्रल मैसेज ऑफ मॉडर्न डेवलपमेंट इकोनॉमीज क्या है इंपॉर्टेंस बताई गई है इकोनॉमिक इनकम ग्रोथ की वाई बी दैट ग्रोथ इन जीडीपी ग्रोथ डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट इन थ्योरी राइजिंग जीडीपी क्रिएट एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी एम्प्लॉयमेंट लेके आती है एज इकोनॉमिक ग्रो होती है इन ए कंट्री where level of GDP was once low, household communities, government are increasingly able to set aside some fund for the production of things that would make their life good. And today's GDP has assumed that significant place in developmental lexicon. That is, someone mentioned economic growth. We know they mean the growth in GDP. Okay. Rising GDP essential for a country to be developed country. Rising guarantee the reasonable distribution of income. How can guarantee? Again, यहाँ पे भी कोई सा भी correct नहीं है essential भी नहीं बोल सकते development होने के लिए. Next, fig tree, ficus genus ficus considered sacred माना जाता है इंडिया के अंदर. ईस्ट एशिया और अफ्रीका में कॉमन है एग्रीकल्चर और अर्बन लैंडस्केपिंग where other large trees are absent in natural forest fig trees provide food for wildlife के लिए food है when other resources जब scarce हो and support a high density and diversity for herbivorous जो कि fruit eating animals हैं उनके लिए if herbivorous birds and bats continue to visit fig trees located in the site with high human disturbance sacred trees may promote herbivorous abundance तो ये खाने वाले ज्यादा आ सकते हैं and under favorable microclimate plenty of seeding of other trees would grow and around the big tree इसके आसपास और भी आ सकते हैं microclimate में तो कौन सा हो सकता है fig tree can often be the keystone species in natural forest can grow where other large woody species cannot grow how we can say cannot grow sacred trees have a role in the biodiversity of conservation and fig tree have a role in seed dispersal of other trees. This is because of these bats and assumption हम मान रहे हैं यहाँ पे ऑप्शन 1 ए को fig trees are often keystone मान रहा है क्योंकि औरों को कंट्रोल कर रहा है अगर इस पे बैठ आ रही है तो वो बाकियों को अगर उनके सीड डिस्पर्स हो रहे हैं तो एंड सीड ट्रिगर नगल यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा लार्ज नहीं हो आप उगा सकते at the heart of agroecology is the idea of that agroecosystem should mimic the biodiversity level and functioning of natural ecosystem. Such agriculture mimics, like their natural models, can be productive, pest resistant, nutrient conserving, and resilient to the shock and stresses. In ecosystem, there is no waste जो आपका न्यूट्रिएंट है एंड रिसाइकल इंडिफिनेटली कर सकते हैं एग्रो इकोलॉजी एम कर रहा है कि क्लोजिंग न्यूट्रिएंट लूप्स तो न्यूट्रिएंट्स आपके खराब ना हो returning all nutrients that come from the soil back to the soil. Such application farmyard manure still. It also harnesses natural process to control pests and build soil fertility. Through intercropping, agroecological practice integrate करता tree with the livestock and crops. Tree, livestock, crops इन सब का discussion करिए. तो which of the following practice can be compatible with the agroecologically जो इसके अंदर मेंशन है. क्या cover crops हमने देखी हैं? क्या हमने हाइड्रोपोनिक्स देखा है तो अगर हम 3 को एलिमिनेट करते हैं तो वी हैव एलिमिनेट 2 तो हम ऐसा मान सकते हैं कि फोर्थ इज करेक्ट दोनों में है 1 इज कवर क्रॉप सेकंड फर्टिगेशन तो भी हम नहीं ले सकते वही रिकवरी पॉलीकल्चर चलो बहुत सारे कल्चर आप देख सकते हो मोनोकल्चर नहीं करते इसको हम ले सकते तो ऑप्शन ए कंप्यूटर increasingly deal not just with the abstract data like credit card details database, but also with the real world of physical object and vulnerable human bodies. A modern car is a computer on wheels. पहियों के ऊपर कंप्यूटर चल रहा है. An aeroplane is a computer on wheels. ठीक है. And the arrival of Internet of Things will see computer backed into everything from road sign and MRI scanner to prosthetic and insulin pumps. There is a little evidence that these gadgets will be any more trustworthy than their desktop counter. Hackers have already proved that they can take remote control of internet connected car and pacing car. इनको भी कर सकते हैं। तो यहाँ पे देखते हैं क्या पूछा गया है। प्लस स्टेटमेंट कौन सी है? क्रिटिकल इन्फ्रेंस ठीक है। मोस्ट कंप्यूटर आर नॉट कंप्लीटली सेफ। कंप्लीटली को यार कैसे बोल सकते? Companies producing the software do not take care of the cyber security seriously. How we can? Stringent data security laws are needed. Present trend in communication technology will affect our lives in future. So हम इसको क्या कर सकते हैं? डाटा सिक्योरिटी को थोड़ा इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं। बाकी इसमें हमारा क्या रोल? Next, a social and physical environmental riddled with the poverty, inequities, unhygienic and insanitary conditions generate carrying risk of infection disease. Hygiene has different levels: personal, domestic, community hygiene. बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं. There is no doubt that personal cleanliness brings down the rate of infectious disease. पर्सनल अगर आप क्लीननेस रखते हो तो infectious disease कम होगी. But the entry of the market into the domain has created a false sense of security. इन्होंने फैला दी है. Get conditioned and reinforced by the onslaught of the advertisement. Experience in Western Europe shows that along with the personal hygiene, general improvement environmental conditions, component like clean water, sanitation, food security has brought down infant child की rates को कम कर दिया गया है उनके जो लाइफ में. And the obsession with this hand hygiene also bringing the persisting influence of the market on personal health, overriding or marginalizing the negative impact on ecology and emergence of resistant germs. On basis of the passage, कौन सा germs हम बता सकते हैं? People who are obsessed with the personal hygiene tend to ignore the community hygiene. Emergency of multi-drug resistance can be prevented by personal entry of the market in the domain of hygiene, increase the risk of risk. Scientific and micro level intervention are not sufficient nahi hai to bring down the burden of infectious disease. It is community hygiene implemented through public health measures that is really effective in battle against the infectious disease. Yes, fifth को हम सही मान सकते हैं. fifth आपका सिर्फ एक ऑप्शन के अंदर and इनमें fifth को भी मान रखा. 89 valid मान रखा 3 और 4. Entry of the market domain creates infectious disease and the reason is in assumption 3 is valid. The risk of infectious disease is likely with the entry of the market in the domain hygiene. Read the last sentence. Also bring the okay. Next, researchers simulated street lighting on artificial grassland floors containing PFIDs method, subsecting insects at night. These were exposed to two different types of lightning को expose करवाया गया. White light similar to a newer commercial LED की light में थी. Amber light जो कि sodium lamp होते हैं उसके बराबर थी. The low intensity amber light was shown to inhibit rather than induce. Flowering को इसने inhibit किया है. In a wild plant of pea family का, which is a source of food of pea aphid का grassland. The number of aphids are also significantly suppressed under the light treatment due to limited amount of food available. So the best reflect low intensity light has more adverse effect on plant as compared to high intensity. How we can say plant के ऊपर चल देखते हैं आप insect उसमें नहीं था. Light pollution क्या है? Permanent adverse impact. ये तो कैसे होगा? क्या नहीं? White light is better for flowering as compared to light of other color. Yes, we can see वहाँ पे flowering नहीं थी because वो आपका sodium yellow color का हम बोल सकते हैं. But let us see. Proper intensity of light in an ecosystem important है not for the plants but for animals also. Yes, वहाँ पे हमने को भी देखा. Option D. The inference of the passage is low intensity amber light impact कर सकती है. Plant as well उसमें तो अब flowering नहीं हो रही है and इसमें reducing the food production जो आपकी एफिड वगैरह थे. Approximately 80% of all flowering plant species are pollinated by animals, inducing birds and mammals. But the main pollinator are insects. Pollination is responsible for providing us with a wide variety of food as well as many plant-derived medicine हम यहाँ से लेते हैं. At least 1/3 of the world's agricultural crops depend है pollination के ऊपर. These are the most dominant taxa हैं, सबसे ज़्यादा बी करवाती हैं जो आपको मिलते हैं. When it comes to the pollination, and they are crucial हैं to more than 400 crops. Pollination is an essential service है that is result of intricate relationship between plant and animals, and the reduction or loss of either affect करती हैं survival दोनों को. Effective pollination require resource such as the refuse of pristine natural vegetation क्या हो सकता है, तो कौन सा हम वजन से बना सकते हैं. Sustainable production of India's cereal food grain is impossible without diversity of pollinator. Impossible how monoculture of horticulture hamper करते हैं survival of insect को. Pollinator becomes scarce of in cultivated areas devoid of natural vegetation. And diversity of insect induce the yes we can say fourth is correct. तो fourth यहाँ पे let's see 3 and 4 तो करेक्ट है, बट ये देखते हैं मोनोकल्चर हॉर्टिकल्चर से कैसे आई. अगेन डी मोनोकल्चर से आपकी बीज नहीं आई सर्वाइवल ऑफ इंडिया. ये तो आपकी पर्टिकुलरली कोई भी क्रॉप उसके अंदर जो फ्लावर है उसके कंटेक्स्ट में बात की गई. नेक्स्ट स्टडी कंडक्ट करवाई गई थी इम्पैक्ट ऑफ लाइट चेंज ओवर द कावेरी बेसिन ऑफ तमिलनाडु में यूजिंग रीजनल क्लाइमेट मॉडल. शॉर्ट इसमें दिखाया गया था कि इंक्रीज ट्रेंड हुआ था फॉर मैक्सिमम एंड मिनिमम टेम्परेचर का. डिक्रीज इन नंबर ऑफ रेनी डेज जैसे जैसे आपके बरसात के दिन कम हुए हैं. These climatic shift will have impact थे hydrological cycle के ऊपर भी in the regions lead to more runoff, less recharge. इसको मैं चार्ज लगा देता हूँ. Further, there has been an increase in the frequent of drought भी आ सकता है and driven farmers to increase dependency on groundwater resources to secure their growth. तो groundwater के ज़्यादा ऊपर depend हो रही है. The development of regional climate models help in using the climate smart agriculture project. Yes, we can say. And heavy dependency on groundwater resources can be reduced by adopting dryland. इससे कर सकते हैं. Let's see. इसके ऊपर जा रहे हैं. ठीक है. Climate change increase the criticality of water resources while simultaneously threatening it. Climate change can cause farmer to adopt unsustainable livelihood and risk coping strategies. तो आपका ऑप्शन सी क्रिटिकल वाटर रिसोर्सेज की कंटेक्स्ट में बात की है, इसी को थ्रेट नहीं कर. नेक्स्ट रिसर्चर वर एबल टू यूज स्टेम सेल टू cause न्यूरोटॉक्सिक effect of environmental pollutant bisphenol A, इसको BPM बोलते हैं. We used a combination of biochemical cell-based assay to examine the gene expression profile during the differentiation of mouse embryonic stem cells upon treatment with the BPA. Compound known to cause heart disease आपका ये है diabetic and human का जो developmental abnormalities हो सकती है. We are able to detect and measure BPA toxicity toward the proper specification of primary germs layers such as endoderms, ectoderms, and establishment of neural progenitor cells. So कौन से germs हम बना सकते हैं यहाँ से. BPA में ultra embryonic development in vivo, biochemical and cell based assay of useful for finding out treatment of pollution induced disease, embryonic stem cell model to evaluate physical. Yes, हम बोल सकते हैं इसमें. Option is correct and embryonic development in vivo also correct. Next, medieval merchant risked the hazard of the Silk Road to reach market of China. Portuguese caravels 15th century में आई थी, sailed beyond the bounds of the known world, searching less for the knowledge than the gold and spices. Historically, the driver for opening frontier has always been the search for resources. Science and curiosity are weaker drivers. The only way to open up space, whether the space of solar system हो, interstellar space हो, is to create an economic engine. That the engine is resources extraction. कौन सा पैसे चाहिए इसमें assumption हम बना सकते हैं. बेस्ट सम करता है. वेल्थ जनरेशन इज द प्राइमरी मोटिव ऑफ ह्यूमन केवल था. स्पेस वेदर स्पेस इन द सोलर सिस्टम इंटरसेल स्पेस में गवर्न और फ्यूचर इकोनॉमी Human beings are motivated to explore new frontier, principally by economic consideration. Yes, wealth generation is based on risk-taking behavior of some man. It is option C. हम तभी जब वो इकोनॉमिक हमें कोई चीज ज्यादा वो लगती है तब ज्यादा वो नेक्स्ट most of the people would agree that telling deliberate lie is wrong, except perhaps in certain special situations where more harms will be done by telling truth. यहाँ पे आप थोड़ा सा झूठ बोल के अगर कम हार्म कर सकते हो तो वो करने की कोशिश कीजिए rather than अगर सच बोलने से बहुत ज्यादा अगले का नुकसान हो रहा है तो बचाइए. Even the most truthful people probably tell a good many more lies might be regarded as semantic lies. The use of words contains some measures of falsehood, more or less deliberate. The main idea क्या था इसका? Agreement about telling lies, disagreement about telling lies, agreement, disagreement about telling the truth, disagreement about harming in telling the truth. कहीं ना कहीं हमने एग्रीमेंट की बात की है डायरेक्ट कि अगर सच अगर आप उसमें बोलते हो बट देन डिसएग्रीमेंट अबाउट द हार्म्स. 95 डी. Even though UPSC is given D correct, option A is logically inferred. ठीक है. Option A भी धरा था इन्होंने भी ये मेंशन कर रखा है. The question is asking for idea for the first part of the passage, but the first part is missing. You can see. कौन सी special situation? So we need to simplify the message. From the passage we can imply that the first part is discussing the idea of agreement. And the second part is disagreement. Next, which of the following habit is found in more often in good people? Mixing the truth and false. Intentional mixing. Intentional नहीं यार. Falsification of fact. Complete concealment of truth. We can say international. Intentional mixing. कर दिया यहाँ पे. According to passage, most of the people speak deliberate lies. Next, can a democracy avoid being a welfare state for long? Why cannot mass welfare to be left entirely to the markets? There is a built-in the tension between market and democracy के बीच में tension सी है. Market do not work on a one person one vote principle of democracy के ऊपर. What one gets out of the market place depend करता है one's endowment skill के ऊपर, purchasing power and force of demand and supply के ऊपर. Market reward individual initiative and skills and may also lift many from the bottom rungs of society. But some people never get the opportunity to develop skills that market demand. They are simply too poor and too handicapped. Skill formation takes too long. By creating jobs, market are able to help in unskilled people. Capitalism has witnessed burst of unemployment. Assumption कौन सी बन सकती है? Most democracy rely on market force to enable them welfare state. Yes. Ensure sufficient economic growth for the democracy to be effective. Government program are needed to the left behind the economic growth. 297. There is a built tension थी. Market ensure efficient growth necessary है democracy को effective बनाने के लिए. Democracy rely market force. Try to think कि यूपीएससी ने कैसे आंसर दिए. बस उसी में आपको अपने सोच को डेवलप करना है. सेंट्रल आइडिया देखना है पैसेज में. In our school, we teach our children. In our school, we teach our children that is there to know about physics, math, history, what you have. आपके पास क्या है? But we teach them bitter caste divide, plague of the country, about the spectre of famines, talks large of our land, about gender sensitivity, possibility of atheism and souls. Equally important है कि हम उनको पढ़ाएं. Or do we teach them only to passively receive our wisdom from the cold world? World of the school, suddenly adolescent find himself herself in the unfettered world of university. Here, there is a turmoil of ideas, influence and ideology. Someone has been discouraged हो सकता है by asking questions and forming an opinion. This transition can be painful also. Best reflect कौन सा करा है? School curriculum is not compatible. Phases of academic appointment does give time for development of personality. We can say Preparing children to better citizens should be responsibility education system की to be to be a better citizen. Present world order demands social and life coping skills की आवश्यकता academic content में. So ये आपका right answer. Next, best university like Harvard and MIT, despite having the luxury of having some truly excellent teachers on their payroll and increasing embracing flipped classroom format where students listen the video lecture at home and spend class time applying their knowledge, solving problems, discussing example. Professor guide that discussion and fill in wherever necessary, explaining those bits that seems to be eluding the student and throwing in advanced idea that help him to be topical. These universities have made their video lecture available free for anyone in the world. They are also encourage college and universities all over the world to integrate these online classes into their own pedagogy, picking up the piece that are appropriate for the needs and building अपने अकॉर्डिंग देख सकते हैं. सेंट्रल कौन सा efficacy of university would be better in online mode as compared to conventional. Availability of higher grades can be easier, cheaper without diluting the content. Yes, we can say. We need not to invest much infrastructure in higher education and yet develop human different. Private sector initiative in higher private काम क्या बोल रहे हैं? 99 B made easier. ये बन चुका है अभी without diluting the content. Same का same content आपको online मिल रहा है. Our cities are extremely vulnerable. Climate change because of large concentration of population and poor infrastructure. Moreover, population density are increasing in them, but we have not yet developed the system of to address climate change impact. Our cities contribute 65% of GDP, but there are not enough facilities to cater the need of people. It is important to address the issue of air quality को transport को देखने की आवश्यकता है. Identify the sustainable solution. We need to involve citizen in city planning में आवश्यकता है उनकी create an ecosystem हमें create करना चाहिए जो कि उनकी help कर सके. So which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the passage? यहाँ से कौन सी बनाई जा सकती है? Our cities have to be well-defined administrative setup with sufficient autonomy. Our increasing population density is a hindrance. Maintain or develop cities need to adopt sustainable related intervention as we can say. The private-public partnership mode of development इसकी हम कैसे बात कर सकते हैं? Again, maintain development intervention. See. Next, nothing can exist in a natural state, which we call good or bad by common assent. Every man, since every man who is natural state में है, consultly only his own advantage determine करता which is good or bad according to his own fancy or insofar as he was regard for on himself advantage alone and hold himself responsible to no one save himself by any law. Therefore, sin cannot be conceived in any natural state, but only in the civil state, which is decreted by common consent what is good or bad, self-responsibility to the state. Reflects central idea, conception of what is right exists due to formation of a state. Unless a ruling authority decide what is right or wrong, no man can be morality right. Man is inherently immoral and selfish अपने natural state में. The idea of what is wrong or right necessary for survival of human. कैसे necessary? Formation of state conception हमारे अंदर आ रहा है कि exist. In immediate future, we will see the increasing commodification of many new technologies. Artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D manufacturing, customs, made biological and pharmaceutical products, lethal autonomous weapons, driverless cars. This will pose conundrums. The moral question of how a driverless car will be decided hitting a zoo worker or swerving or damaging the cat has been debated. The answer is both simple, save the human life and complex. At which angles should the cars will save the job worker or nothing? If the driverless car is dull bin, who would take the decision? The Irish government or cars original सेवन क्या ही है रीजन इनका सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट आपका हैदराबाद का है मेंटेनेंस और कहीं की है if different national jurisdiction have different fine print on prioritizing human life हाउ विल अफेक्ट द इंश्योरेंस एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन, कैसे हम देख सकते हैं इसमें? तो बेस्ट बताने हैं आपको, टू मच ग्लोबलाइजेशन इज नॉट बेस्ट टू बी इंटरेस्ट ऑफ एनी कंट्री, वी कैन से modern technology are increasing blurring the economic borders. Innovation and capital have improving the domain of the state. Public policy of every country will focus developing on supply chain. Geopolitics will have reconcile and ambiguity and uncertainty. So here, the answer taken by UPSC is 2, 3, and 4. That is modern technology increasing and innovation and capital improving with geographic option. Is not best. तो इसी को अगर हम काटते हैं तो ये आपका next, resolution of bankruptcy case of Indian banks under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code would help in bring non-performing asset situation under some control में आया है. Despite the slow जो भी है resolution of national company law NCERT, the code can help in banking up bank loan in the future credit cycles, recapitalization of public sector bank. इसने भी help किया increasing the capital accusation of the banks, will induce to lend more and boost economic activity. But bad debt resolution and recapitalization only a part of the solution as themselves and carried too little to rein the reckless lending it has influenced to economy, Indian banking system to current sorry state. Okay. Unless the system reforms that address the problems of unsustainable lending, future credit cycle will continue to stress the banking system. West consistency exemption most logical. Lending the banks should be closely monitored on the central government. Interest should be kept in low to induce the bank lend more. Merger of many banks, merger कैसे इंडियन बैंक सिस्टम रिक्वायर स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म से होता है, लॉन्ग टर्म बैड लॉन्स परफॉर्म इन सब के लिए प्रॉब्लम्स के लिए. ऑप्शन डी आपको सॉल्यूशन बेस्ड अप्रोच रखना है, तो याद रखना बस. टुडे इज लास्ट. इन इंडिया ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी क्या है? टू एनहांस द इकोनॉमिक वेलफेयर ऑफ पीपल and by one wing of such macro policy, monetary or fiscal cannot be independently काम नहीं कर सकते. Active support के लिए central bank cannot work independently. Government should regulate financial market. Market economy is not compatible with the socialist policies. The financial sector reform are required for enhancing the social welfare of the society. हम इनको separate नहीं कर सकते. Cannot without the active support. Economic welfare की बात करेंगे policy में. 304 आपका है independently of the government. Central bank cannot work. उनको मिलके ही काम करना. Okay. So that's all for today. So हम start करेंगे otherwise and last. So thank you.